The Patomskiy Crater. When geologist Vladimir Kolpakov began his expedition into Siberia in 1949, the local Yakut people warned him of the Fire Eagle nest, calling it, quote, an evil place deep in the woods that even the animals avoided. It reportedly made people feel sick when they approached it, and it's a place where many locals had disappeared. Undeterred by the tales of evil spirits, Kolpakov found the Patomskiy Crater that resembled the mouth of a volcano. Rising 25 stories above the surrounding forest, Kolpakov believed it was only about 250 years old, an estimate supported by later studies which claim it must be between 300 and 350 years old. Curiously, the trees around the crater show, quote, a period of accelerated growth similar to that seen in the forests around Chernobyl. Some believe the crater was formed by a meteorite impact, the Tungska meteoroid, since no crater for that event has ever been found, despite it being the highest impact event since humanity began record-keeping. Yet geologists say the Patomskiy Crater lacks the hallmarks of such an event and was most likely caused by something else. Others believe it's the landing site of an alien craft, which could also explain the crater's local lore. Alternative explanations point to volcanic activity, which is highly unlikely in the area, or to some sort of gas entrapment. No definite origin story has been corroborated, yet the Fire Eagle nest continues to prove that it's a mysterious and unwelcoming place. In 2005, the leader of a research expedition to the crater suffered a heart attack as he approached the formation. The reason for the negative impact of the area on visitors' health is also an unresolved mystery. Bouvet Island. Bouvet Island is located in the South Atlantic, roughly 1,100 miles, 1,700 kilometers from Antarctica. It's covered 90% in glaciers and stretches 19 square miles, or 49 square kilometers. It's also inhospitable for life, and is often considered one of the most isolated places on Earth. At the center of the island, there's an inactive volcano crater, now filled with ice. The island is often only accessible by helicopter, because the choppy seas in the area make visiting by boat extremely dangerous. For those reasons, British explorers aboard the HMS Protector were stunned to discover an abandoned, unidentified lifeboat on a visit to Bouvet in 1964. On land nearby were, quote, oars, wood, a drum, and a copper tank, but there were no apparent signs of island residents or their remains. Mysteriously, when an expedition returned to Bouvet Island 2 years later, the lifeboat and all the supplies had vanished. Records indicate the site may have been linked to a Soviet science and whaling expedition, Slava 9, and that the lifeboat travelers may have been recovered by a helicopter shortly after arriving at the island. However, on September 22, 1979, an American Vela Hotel satellite captured a bright double flash on or above the waters between Prince Edward Island and Bouvet Island, leading to rumors of alien activity or of a meteor falling. No evidence has surfaced that what became known as the Vela incident and the mysterious lifeboat were connected. Researchers believe that the most likely origin of the flashes was a secret nuclear test, with the original report claiming that the flashes had, quote, many of the features of signals from previously observed nuclear explosions. Some believe the test was perhaps launched by Israel and South Africa. Both nations have denied these allegations, and the claim has been countered by New Zealand's National Radiation Laboratory, which found no radioactivity that could support this explanation. Much of the details collected have been kept a secret by the US government, and the origin of the flashes at Bouvet Island remains a mystery. Hessdalen Lights. Reports of mysterious lights visible from Hessdalen, Norway, have been routinely documented since the 19th century. Most report, quote, typically large, bright white, blue, red, or yellow lights floating above the ground or shooting at amazing speeds. And occasionally, quote, triangle, pyramid, cylindrical, or disc-shaped objects reminiscent of spacecraft accompany the lights. The Hessdalen Lights cover a long stretch of 7.5 miles or 12 kilometers of the valley, both during the day and at night. The first sightings date to 1811, but the unexplained phenomenon was being reported up to 20 times per week in the 1980s. There have also been unverifiable reports of different sightings, such as astronomical bodies, aircraft, car headlights, and mirages. Despite extensive study, Scientists remain unsure of the source of the lights, but theories range from ionized dust in the atmosphere to flammable crystals surrounded by plasma, unexplained gas leaks, and extraterrestrial alien vehicles. In regard to the last theory, UFO Norge and UFO Sweden conducted inconclusive investigations from 1983 to 85. Scholars and researchers have been taken to study the lights relatively unsuccessfully. Most unsettling is the repeated finding that when a laser beam is shined at the lights, they transition from a single flash to a double flash, which some believe could be an attempt of alien life to communicate with Earthlings. The Toxic Lady. In February 1994, a disoriented Gloria Ramirez was brought by ambulance to Riverside General Hospital in Riverside, California. The medical team noticed a, quote, fruity, garlic-like odor emanating from her mouth, and a nurse who drew her blood recalled a strong ammonia-like smell which wafted out of the syringe, along with mysterious white flecks within her blood. Shortly thereafter, 2 members of the medical team fainted, and others began feeling nauseous, causing the staff to evacuate the emergency room to the parking lot. Only a small team of physicians remained to treat Ramirez, while 23 people in the hospital became ill, 5 of whom required hospitalization. Ramirez passed away from kidney failure only 45 minutes after her admission, and an investigation failed to identify the illness that took over the room. No one understood what had transpired, so the Department of Health and Human Services sent in 2 scientists to investigate. After interviewing 34 members of the staff, they discovered that people with the most intense reactions had been working within 2 feet of the toxic patient. After wrapping their investigation, they suggested that the most likely explanation was mass hysteria. The dismissive theory angered the hospital staff, particularly a medical resident who had spent 2 weeks in intensive care after the incident, even developing avascular necrosis, dead bone tissue due to interrupted blood flow, and hepatitis, inflammation of the liver. The Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory was then asked to investigate the incident. An autopsy suggested Ramirez was using dimethyl sulfoxide, an industrial greasing agent, as a highly uncommon painkiller. While this would have caused the flakes in her blood, as the combination of oxygen administered by paramedics and dimethyl sulfoxide would have turned it into dimethyl sulfone, which crystallizes at room temperature, it could not explain the ammonia smell. As for the cause of death, the scientists theorized that the dimethyl sulfoxide may have caused a urinary blockage that induced kidney failure. As for why the chemical hurt the medical team, they reported that the emergency defibrillation administered by the paramedics released electric shocks which converted the chemical into dimethyl sulfate, an extremely toxic substance. Not everyone involved accepted this explanation, including the family of the patient. The New Times LA published an alternative theory that Gloria Ramirez was exposed to methylamine, which is used to produce methamphetamine and has a distinctly strong ammonia smell. Claims had been made that Riverside was one of the greatest distribution sites of the illicit drug in the country. Their theory, believed by some, is that the hospital workers were in cahoots to produce methamphetamine, and that some of the materials were hidden in IV bags, one of which was accidentally given to Ramirez in place of an actual IV. The patient was dubbed the Toxic Lady by the media, and to this day, no theory explaining the events that transpired has been unequivocally confirmed. Alien megastructure. A strange space object known as KIC 8462852 has been known for its mysterious dimming and brightening behavior since 2015, and on May 19, 2017, an urgent call was sent to astronomers throughout the world to turn their telescopes to the star again. Also known as Boyagin's star or Tabby's star, the object was discovered by the Kepler telescope and was observed dimming unexpectedly over the course of a 3-day event. A range of scientific hypotheses have attempted to explain the bizarre phenomenon, but none has been convincing enough to rule out the others. One popular explanation is that an uneven ring of microscopic fine dust orbiting the star has been displacing the light, but the reoccurrence of the flickering has only deepened the mystery, as it does not appear to be following a naturally occurring pattern. Other explanations for the dimming and brightening include that it's an orbiting cloud of disintegrating comets, that the star is younger than believed and therefore releases coalescing material, that it's surrounded by debris from some sort of collision, and that the star absorbed a planet, which is unlikely because it returned to regular brightness after becoming brighter. An alternative theory, which has often garnered support, is that it may be part of an alien megastructure, particularly a Dyson swarm, a ring of solar power transferring energy wirelessly to a home planet or ship. However, the matter has been a subject of heated debate, with some claiming that when presented with multiple hypotheses, the one adopted should be the one asking for less assumptions. The existence of such a structure would require a deeply advanced alien civilization to exist in the first place. Furthermore, 2017 data analysis claims that the dimming of the star matches dust interference better than an opaque structure, since the light changes in wavelengths. Additionally, the theory that KIC 8462852 is a younger star than has been suggested is rooted in the fact that young stellar objects have fluctuating dimming patterns. Similarly, in September of 2019, it was suggested that the light fluctuations of Tabby's star could be a result of the destruction or disruption of a nearby exoplanet by another astronomical object. This theory is supported by similar cases of other stars. Yet scientists cannot be 100% certain of why we've been able to observe fluctuating light from KIC 8462852.